How you doing, YouTube? This is AG Prepper coming at you with another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about basically um, what happened with the oil refineries and also the oil facilities in Saudi Arabia, and also the attack that possibly could have been Iran. These are coming from accusations from the United States and from Saudi Arabia themselves. And supposedly they found proof, and we're going to go ahead and talk about all that as well. We're going to talk about a little bit on older economics magazine covers and what they are foretelling for the future. And we're going to be talking about other events that took place, which will show us that the powers that be means business. That they are willing to do catastrophes to basically get their satanic tasks or jobs that are set forth by the devil to be fulfilled. These men are very wicked men, very dangerous men as well. So we're going to go ahead and go over a lot of that stuff. We're also going to go over the moon phases, and let's see what else we're going to go over. We're going to talk about the chemical explosion in China, and I guess we'll touch on 923 as well, and the subliminal messages of that, which the individual on YouTube has posted for us. So a lot of good stuff. All right, so before I start, the attack that's happened in Saudi Arabia happened during a full moon, which was on the 14th, I believe, late night 14th, going to the 15th. And what's interesting is that during the crescent moon here, which I talked about in the last video, this is the start of September, which our Trump market is basically going up. And at the end of September, we're supposed to be crashing severely. You can see that here with the Trump market going down. And in the middle, we have obviously the full moon. So if you have the phases of the moon, you have the middle being the full moon. And what's interesting is that the oil refineries that got attacked during the time of the full moon, which is now causing a lot of rise in tension, worldwide. So, and also caused silver and gold to start its sixth leg up, which is also it's going to be a explosion phase in price. And it's interesting how everything is lining up to a particular date, and that's towards the end of September, going to 23rd and so forth. All right, so let's go ahead and let me go ahead and show you a news briefing on the event that took place over in Iran. And this will give you a little bit idea of what's going on if those who missed the news. Also, we're going to go over a few things after this as well.
Arabia this morning to meet with the Crown Prince as tensions rise with Iran in the wake of that attack on key Saudi oil facilities. Iran's leaders warning against any retaliation as chances of a meeting with President Trump are dwindling. Our chief global affairs anchor Martha Rad is tracking all the latest from Washington. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, George.
Now, another thing is that the United States is blaming Iran because they want to get in war with Iran. The banking cartel needs to get into another war. Now, they know that a market crash is coming. That's inevitable. But what they want to do is they want to try to let me turn down a little bit. They want to try to establish a banking system in Iran. Because what's going on is that the banking cartel is basically running out of people, I guess you could say, running out of money to borrow and so forth. They do things called fractional reserve banking. They do other things as well by loaning out money to other individuals from savers. And they need more people to come into the system to keep the game basically going, if that makes sense. And I'm just giving you a gist of it. And Iran is one of the countries, I think it's the top 3 countries that basically doesn't have the banking cartel established within their nation. And that's why the bankers are licking their chops to basically get in there and establish a false regime to set up the banking system. And if they get into war with Iran, it will help cushion the next economic crash because war does bring in profit, if that makes sense. So this is why the powers that be are pushing so hard against Iran.
Trump was considering military action in retaliation last summer, but backed off. But this attack
September 14th is when it happened there. It was, I believe, late night last night, I think it was. Something like that.
The Iranians have gotten progressive.
Now, this attack basically knocked out about 5%, supposedly 5% of the world supply in oil. It also brought the their oil price skyrocketing about 20%, like within one day, something crazy like that. So a very interesting event, and this took place during the time of the full moon, which is also the harvest moon, which I talked about in my last video, because September is the harvest moon. It's also subliminally shown in iPad Goat, and also the oil, which is interesting in iPad Goat, is also being shown. And let me see if I can find I have somewhere up here. All right, so let me go ahead and play it. I guess we can play it right here. Now, iPad Goat shows a lot of subliminal messages of Islam. Also, war is taking place with the Islamic faith and not Islamic people. Now, the Islam is basically the religion, but how can I say it? Ishmael, which is a bloodline, which are the Arabians, are the people that follow the faith of basically the Muslim faith or Islam. Now, not every Middle Eastern follows Islam, but you have a large portion of it that does. Now, you have Saddam here basically rallying up the troops because there will be a future war in the Middle East that will take place right before tribulation. And what's going on now is basically what's going to the tensions are going to push into this basically this new war that's coming. Here we're going to have oil problems, and that's basically what the powers that be are trying to tell us. And now, could this here, this little warning sign here from the iPad Goat dictated what happened in Iran with the drop in the oil by 5% and an increase in oil prices? It could be very, very interesting how they have this happening. Very interesting. Then the next one up is basically you have the United States Statue of Liberty crumbling. Now I'm going to fast forward a little bit, and this is going to be at the crescent moon, because the crescent moon is shown in iPad Goat. Not the crescent moon, the full moon, which is the harvest moon. But I'm trying to look for it, which is right here. Now there's a reason why they were showing us this. This is their depiction of, now this is their false rapture, of course, but this is depiction of the rapture, which the rapture we already talked about before is a form of a harvest. And that's the reason why they had this here on a full moon, because they were trying to tell us which type of full moon when these events take place. And that is the harvest moon in September. And it's interesting how the oil attack took place during the time of the harvest moon in September. See that? Ooh, let me turn that down a little too loud. See that? So very, very interesting stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. We're going to go ahead and move on to basically what took place in China. And the reason why we're moving on to there is because I want to give you guys an idea that the powers that be are not messing around. If they follow through with their plan, this is going to be a very catastrophic event for the United States. And I believe the next event's going to take place. And it's going to be an attack on basically New York City, which is basically going to kick everything off going into tribulation, or close to the tribulation, going into the war, which is Psalms 83 war, which is basically the Israeli or Jewish Israeli war, or Israeli how can I say it? Israeli Arabic war. Yeah, there you go. All right, so let's go ahead and go over here. So this is the Economics Magazine covering back in 2015. Here we have a lot of subliminal messages, but I'm not going to go into detail. I just want to pick out a few things. And one thing is here you have a football right here. And the reason why they're subliminally showing the football, it's in the shape of a globe. And let me bring it up close to you. You also have a few things here, like it shows, this is a little bit too small, but it basically shows like a market type aspect. When you read into it, it is market, and it says panic here. So when the events take place, the markets are basically going to be tanking severely, and that's what it shows in the other Economics Magazine company, which is 2019 Economics Magazine company. So it basically referenced one another. Now, this took place already, this explosion, and this happened. They foretold this, in 2000, the beginning of 2015, and we had a massive economic or a massive chemical explosion that happened in China, and I think it was August 12th, if I'm not mistaken, which basically they were pinpointing to this. Now, what's interesting is that they have two type of missiles, or one exploding, and one that is taken off. So this one hasn't exploded yet. So basically, it's almost like they're telling us a future event of another one like this, but possibly much bigger, will take place. And I believe that will be the during the time of the attack on New York City with possible nuclear bomb exploding. Now, this is what I believe. It could be another event, but it will be a mass event when it takes place. But based off my subliminal messages, or my studying of my subliminal messages, I believe that this here they're going to detonate a nuke in basically the Babylon Canyon. You can look up Babylon Canyon. It's a giant crack in the ocean next to New York City. And it's going to cause a massive explosion, which is going to cause a massive tsunami wave that basically will hit New York City. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go over this a little bit. In 2015 of August, we had a massive chemical explosion, and they showed the explosion right before. This was released on, I believe, December of 2014. So the simple little messages that are being shown basically came to fruition in August. So this gives you an idea that the powers that be, when they're set on to do something, eventually they will do it. They may back out a few times or become wish-washy a little bit, but eventually they will get around to it because, that's just how it is. All right, so we'll go to it right now. Where is that? All right, so this is the explosion. So this explosion was so massive that it caused a giant crater in basically the ground. It happened next to the chemical plant was basically next to a car dealership, and it destroyed many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cars. Brand new cars were basically wiped out. And you can see the cars from a distance from here. You see that? Also, it killed well over 100 people. I believe it got close to 200, and it injured more than 800 people, if I'm not mistaken. It was a massive event that took place in China. Now, let me go ahead and show you the actual video, which shows that. And this, the reason why I'm showing you this because they planned this to happen. This was the event that took place. They're blaming it on a chemical explosion, of course, but subliminally showing it way before in advance before it happens, which means the powers that be's hands were on this event that took place. They were the cause of this. Before I play this, this was during the time when China first started devaluing their currency and started bringing down our markets and our currency as well. And China this year is currently devaluing their currency as well, and they're also dropping U.S. bonds. And another interesting note is that on the Economics magazine cover of 2015, they foreshowed that one side of the world will be bickering and arguing with the other side of the world. And they showed this in 2000 and, starting in December 2014, going to 2015. They showed this even before the currency wars basically started. And basically, if you look at it like this, China is on the opposite side of the world. If you dig a hole straight in the ground of the U.S., you get on the other side of China. That's basically what they say because it's on the complete opposite side of the world. And that's the reason why they show this, because they were basically subliminally showing or predicting the currency wars that would take place going to 2018 and 2019, but starting in 2015. So a lot of subliminal messages that the powers that be show are pretty legit. Some of them don't follow through fruition, but some of them do. And when they do, it's big. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you. This is the explosion that took place in China.
Holy shit. Fuck yeah, I'm videoing it.
Now these are buildings and these are cars, so it gives you an idea how big this explosion is. You can see the cars at the bottom driving by, and look how big this building is. It's a huge building. It's not small.
Oh. What the? Holy shit.
Now this was not caused by a chemical explosion. It was caused by the powers that be.
Fucking what?
Now that's not even the biggest explosion. The biggest explosion is about to come. So if the powers that be are capable of doing stuff like this, then they're more capable of causing a massive event to take place on the U.S. soil. And it is coming. I'm telling you right now, it is coming. Yeah, these men are very, very satanic. You know, and basically with the new subliminal messages that are going on now, America has to basically fall for this new system to be set up. And when this event comes, it's gonna make this look like a cakewalk. This is gonna be nothing compared to the catastrophe that's gonna take place in the new event, or the second iPad Go, because the first iPad Go was basically 9/11. The second one will be basically iPad Go 2. Now, give me 1 second here. I just want to show you one more thing, and we will end this video here. We'll start off with basically the Feel It Still and also Green Day. And then we're going to go on to other things as well. This is a lot of information to go through, and I'm trying to do this in a very short time period. And I'm going to try to do it in 3 parts. I may have to do it in 4. So I basically did the calculations on basically what took place in China with the explosion. And the reason why I did that is because in 2005... 2015, they showed this explosion, but they showed 2. This is like a mini. It was like a mini nuke. I wouldn't say it was an actual nuke because nuke is bigger, but it was like very close to a mini nuke. This missile could be an interpretation of an actual nuke, and going back to the football is referenced for the how can I say it? I have it up here. Let me see if I can find the wording for it. The nuclear football, that's what it is. So this football is a representation of the nuclear football. And the reason why it shows the world is because when this event takes place, it's going to change everything. It's going to be literally the start of, or close to the start of the tribulation. And this will be a worldwide catastrophic event. Not the event coming. The event coming is going to start it off. But the tribulation itself is going to be a worldwide catastrophic event. And the starting point will be with the massive event that's going to take place, which is going to be iPad Go 2, and most likely in New York City. So the nuclear football is basically something, for those who don't know, is basically something that the president has nearby. And I'll go ahead and read it to you right now. The nuclear football, also known as the atomic football, the president's emergency satchel, the presidential emergency satchel, the button, the black box, or just the football, is a briefcase, the contents of which are to be used by the President of the United States to authorize a nuclear attack while away from fixed. Now, I believe when the event takes place here on U.S. soil, I don't believe it's going to be caused by the President himself. What they're basically showing is they're just showing nuclear football just for a subliminal message. And if you go back to 2015, you basically see here, and that's just a subliminal message for that. That's the reason why I have it in the football shape. Also, rugby has already started. And what's so fascinating to me is that rugby basically started. And let me see if I can pull it up for you, okay? Hold on. Oops, why did I put 2015? I'm thinking 2015, that's why. Give me 1 second. Okay, rugby football basically started on September 20th, and it goes into November 2nd when it ends. The reason why it's called rugby, not rugby football, but the reason why I'm showing you this because rugby itself, the actual ball, looks like a football. And what's interesting is that rugby, you see that? Looks exactly like a football. And we already talked about the subliminal message in 2015 with the ball looking like a football and also with the meaning of nuclear football. Now, what's interesting about this is that this started in September, or latest September, middle September going to latest September. If the events take place on September 22nd and 23rd, and in later videos I'm going to describe why I believe it could be 22nd to the 23rd, this will make perfect sense. It's a very good subliminal message for 2019. It lines up very, very well. So this could actually mean something. So let's go ahead and go back. I just want to do one more thing and show you the calculations of the days from September 23rd and to the day of the event that took place in China. So the event that took place in China was on August 12th, 2015. At least that's what is shown during my research. On September 23rd, 2019, if you count up the days, it equals to 1,503 days. I went to Strong's Accordion to look up the meaning of 1,503 days, and this is what I got. I got stem stock right there. Now this is going to be very, very cool because I'm going to go ahead and show you. It means stem stock, and when you read it in a sentence of the definition of basically 1,503 days, you get because every number has a meaning. Just to throw that out there. From an unusual root meaning to cut down trees. See, the trunk or stump of a tree. That's what it means. Now, interesting enough is that when you look at the Statue of Liberty and how the Statue of Liberty is designed. I talked about in my video before where it shows the Statue of Liberty on a subliminal message with Google making imaging of the Statue of Liberty, celebrating the soccer for the women's soccer league. It shows the Statue of Liberty falling over almost like a tree while the water coming in. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to my previous videos and you'll see what I'm talking about. But also, I'm going to show you something interesting here. And this will be the last one. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. We'll go back to the Statue of Liberty. Almost there. Okay. Now here, it looks like on iPad Go, they're making this Statue of Liberty look like a trunk tree. Or actual tree itself, just without the bushes on top. Does that make sense? Or the leaves on top. So let me go ahead and show you. It's going to come up close. You see that? It looks just like a trunk tree. You even have like little roots coming out here. You see that? Just like a tree. And then it ends up falling over and so forth. Now, if we slow this down, if we play it out, it looks like this. But when we go back to slow it down, check this out. Look how when the arm falls of the Statue of Liberty, look how the Statue of Liberty falls over. You see that? It's falling over. You see that? So when someone basically cuts down a tree, the lumberjack basically calls what is it? He yells out that the tree is falling, and the tree starts to fall over. And if you see how this the video is playing and how it loops across the Statue of Liberty, it looks like the Statue of Liberty itself is falling over just like a tree, and even the stump or the base of this of the Statue of Liberty looks like a tree going up. And we already looked at the meaning of 1,503. It means a stump, like a tree stump. So very, very interesting how that adds up to that meaning from the chemical explosion in China all the way up to September 23rd. And we already know that the powers that be are showing subliminal messages of the Statue of Liberty, indicating New York City being attacked. And I'll show you in the next video with which I showed previously. Maybe I can even show you now, but I'll play this one more time just so you can see it. See, it looks like it's falling over. You see that? Very, very cool. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my one of my videos. Maybe I have the image up on my channel. I'll show you right now. Yes, I do. It's right here. So you can see how the water is coming in. Where Google Subliminal shown this. The water is coming in here. It looks like the Statue of Liberty is falling over just like a tree. Very, very cool stuff. So in the next video, we're going to be talking about a few other things. We're going to be talking about basically moon phases again. We're also going to talk a little bit more about iPad Go. We're going to talk about I Feel It Still, and also Green Day. And we're going to talk about 923 as well at the very beginning of the next video. and how this individual was able to pull up subliminal messages from the movies, the TV shows, and so forth. All right, thank you, and God bless. The next video will be posting soon.